just gonna jump into it. I've been procrastinating about this for a long time. It is literally something I wanted to do for like the last 10 years. And just due to mental health, injury, life, I've made every excuse in the book not to do it. Been feeling inspired, found my purpose again, fell in love with hockey again, and remembered who I am. My name is Jayden Draney. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Kikino Métis Settlement. I'm Cree Métis, athlete, mental health advocate, coach, mentor, and power engineer. I pretty much wanted to start the medicine of sport or something like it since I could remember. I used to write about my dreams running an Indigenous hockey academy, Indigenous development academy since I was probably 16 years old. Just wanted to jump on and share a little bit about myself, introduce myself, tell you my purpose and my reason and why I do what I do. I'm so ambitious about being in this atmosphere, being a voice for our youth. I'm gonna read a write-up that I wrote, I believe, when I was attending university playing hockey in Michigan. So it's called Being a Better Me. I am Jayden Draney. I'm an 18-year-old Indigenous Canadian. I have a strong passion for sports and athletics, precisely hockey. I live my life using determination and the power of positivity in order to be the best version of myself. To do so, I often like to think of a quote an elder of mine once told me. It goes, "If I did something good today, I will do it better tomorrow. And if I did something wrong today, forgive me and guide me so I can correct it for tomorrow." This quote is very important to me for many reasons. Firstly, because it came from an elder who's considered a knowledge keeper in my culture. Also, it is fitting to the overall person and athlete I am and strive to be. This quote means that you may not do good and right every day in everything you do. So when you do, value it and don't just be content with it, but instead strive to do even better the next time. And when you do bad and wrong, you should also value it because you can benefit from it and use it as your motivation to not do it again. It proves that with no bad, we would have no sense of what is good. And with no wrong, we would never feel right. Nobody is perfect. Nobody can do everything correctly. But with the right view and attitude, you can correctly use your mistakes to make yourself a better person. It is important to use the powers of positivity to take the positives out of every situation. I believe that living by this motto allows me to be whole, distinctive, and engaged with myself and my capabilities as a person. It requires me to focus on myself, my potential, and my progress of being an overall better person and human for myself and everyone around me. I'm actually so proud of myself for thinking like that as an 18-year-old. I just wanted to share a little bit about just some parts of my story that got me to today. So I grew up in Kikino Métis Settlement, small little hamlet in northern Alberta, surrounded by bush pretty much. I grew up with 3 older brothers. My siblings were my best friends, my biggest motivation, and the reason I am the person I am today. I don't think I would be the athlete that I am and became without them. They were my motivation to always do better, push myself, never settle for what people expect of you or limiting you because you're a girl. Growing up with them allowed me to prove that every single day and challenge myself. So I started playing hockey when I was about 4 or 5 years old on the pond outside at the end of our yard. I played my first hockey game at the Alberta Native Provincials with the Kikino team. Fell in love with hockey. I played boys hockey in Kikino and Lac La Biche until I was second year bantam. Not many female hockey players around my area, just small communities. A lot of people probably understand that. When I was 14, I tried out for the Indigenous Team Alberta to represent at the National Aboriginal Hockey Championships. I made it as an underage, the U18 championships. Pretty much the fire that sparked me, my first taste of elite hockey. I fell in love with the girls. I fell in love with being in a room with females because I spent my whole life growing up changing in the little referee room by myself and then going to join the boys. So it just showed me a whole nother sense of community and support and fun in hockey. Don't get me wrong, I loved playing boys hockey. I wouldn't change it. It made me the kind of player that I am. It was a whole nother feeling, being surrounded by people just like you and being welcome to change with them and to enjoy the banter before the games, that kind of thing. Thanks to my journey with Team Alberta, I got to see a lot of Canada. I played 2 times in Montreal, played in Toronto, in Halifax, and in British Columbia. I eventually earned myself the assistant captain role, which was an absolute honor to be considered one of the leaders. It's something that I still hold very proud in my heart. One of the national championships, I got recruited for a junior hockey academy out of Ontario. I was 15 years old. My mom just felt really bad because she got the email and she wasn't going to tell me, because it wasn't something that we could ever afford. But she ended up telling me, and I'm the kind of person who is determined. I didn't care how much it was, what I had to do. I began making posters, flyers, arranging fundraisers, sending out sponsor letters. Thanks to my aunt as well for taking me. I flew to Ontario to attend the summer camp. My first day there, they asked me if I'd like to come back and commit to the season. It was a U20 AA junior hockey academy. I came home and did a heck of a lot more fundraising. I was determined. I had big goals when I was young. I knew I always wanted to play post-secondary hockey and get an education. I knew I would love to experience NCAA, and that was always a vision in my head. Again, thanks to my family and my aunt and my uncle, all my supporters. They're truly the people who got me there and gave me that opportunity. So 3 weeks after I turned 16, I moved to Barrie, Ontario, a 5.5-hour flight from Edmonton. I played out 2 years there. The first year, I was the youngest on the team. I ended up finishing leading points, but it was intense. It was hard work. It was good hockey. We woke up every single day, either on the ice or in the gym at 6 a.m. Full-time school. It was what I needed to succeed, because before I left home, I was already getting into the really bad habits of smoking and drinking. Just started to follow my peers, so it truly was what I needed at that time in my life. I wouldn't have been able to do the things I did and get as far as I did without getting myself in an environment where you were focused on bettering yourself. I went back the second year as an assistant captain. That year, my mental health really started to deteriorate. I realized although I was surrounded by a couple Indigenous hockey players, I was very lucky for that, but I was still very disconnected from my culture, my home, everything I knew. I realized it doesn't matter if you're chasing your dreams and doing what you love. Life back home doesn't pause. It doesn't wait for you. I often had to come home to attend funerals. I went through a lot of loss and a lot of grief, but from a distance. And I wasn't involved in my cultural activities that I used to do, like hunting in the winters with my family, my brothers, my dad. I used to do dance fiddle, I didn't do that. So it just really did take a toll on me. It's a lonely world, especially when you're not feeling connected or confident in who you are and where you come from. We dealt with a lot of racism from our coaches. There was often just situations where you were set up to fail. No matter what you did or said, you were being attacked for where you came from or how you were raised. And eventually I just had enough of it. I spoke up and had a falling out with my coach. There was some very evil things said, and I couldn't deal with it anymore. Yeah, and I ended up moving home. The end of second semester of my grade 12 year. I graduated at my home high school, which was Lac La Biche. Continued my training. I continued staying focused. I had gotten an offer to play NCAA Division III in Michigan, USA. So I had my sight sets on my long-term goal, and I ended up moving to Michigan that following August. I enjoyed it. I loved it. I never really took any time to heal and to find my confidence in myself, in my who I am, being away from home and from everything I know. On top of that, I had applied for some government bursaries. I was lucky enough to be awarded a close to $50,000 bursary to pursue my post-secondary dreams and my hockey goals. I did also get some scholarship for hockey through the universities, but with Division III, you are only allowed to get academic scholarships. So thankfully, I did really well academically. Had received quite a bit of those, so that's what got me through my first semester. Because I'm a member of a Métis settlement, and my bursaries that I applied for and received was through the Métis government, they had to release them to me. But due to I'm not trying to call anyone out. I'm not trying to have controversy. I'm just trying to be honest and tell my story. and why I do what I do and why things are like, these things mean so much to me. Because I was 17 years old and my community all of a sudden decided that they don't fund out of country. Although it's not their funding, it's not their money, had to be released to me by them because I am a member of their community. The councilman from my community decided that I do not get access to my money. I came home for Christmas and I fought them on this. I called them out because they said it was a bylaw, and if anyone knows, a bylaw is just a law made up by the leaders of that community, which can be easily voidable. All it takes is majority vote of councilmen. So 3 out of 5 of the councilmen had to agree that I deserve this money. That does not come out of their funds. As soon as I kind of made it known to the public, they're like, "Oh, we'll take it to council. We'll figure it out." Like, keep in mind, 4 hours away from me in Michigan, there was 2 males from my community that were receiving funding from our community that were also in USA. Unfortunately, this happens so much to our youth and our people. It's greed. Yeah, it's greed. Really, that's all it is. They did not agree. 3 of them could not agree to give me the access to my money. So I moved home from Michigan, moved home from NCAA. I had the opportunity to go play for Nate in the ACAC. When I went to speak to the leaders of my community, they told me that my money was no longer accessible. That was pretty much like the start of the spiral of my mental health, my story, my hockey love. I moved to Edmonton because I just did not want to be home. I missed hockey. I played in the Alberta Junior Female Hockey League for the Sherwood Park Steel. And this year that I lived in Edmonton was a very hard year of loss and grieving. I lost 13 people near me or close to me or family within about 9 months of 2017. I witnessed a tragic fatality and was first on scene for that. I already was not like mentally very strong just due to the trauma that I had to face dealing with the racism. Honestly, just like, I have no other way to say it, to beat around the bush, but grown adults stealing a dream from a kid. Like, I just felt so wronged and like so angry and so bitter because my whole life they knew what my goals were. They knew, like, I made it very clear. I was very vocal. Like, I want to play NCAA. And they always acted like they supported me, put me on a pedestal, used my name to represent the community until I got to like where my goal was. And then all of a sudden, let alone not support me, but to actually take that opportunity from me was heartbreaking. And like, I went through, after that year of all those losses, I really like lost my love for myself. I lost like hope for life. I was really just like scared to live and like felt like there was just bad following me. I ended up moving home and getting into a really bad relationship, getting into substance abuse, addictions, and just not living the life that I was aligned with. I faced a lot of injuries. I didn't always like not play hockey, but I really struggled for a couple years. Like, there was some light in those times. Like, I remember 440 Enoch, there was a leader from there and his wife. They put together a team for us, and we had a group of 15 of us that would travel around and play hockey. And it was really like, honestly, those days got me through a lot because being back home, being like, felt like I just like gave up. The world was against me. I didn't trust life anymore. I didn't trust people. I was traumatized. I was drinking. I was doing drugs. That opportunity to play with those girls for like that year really got myself out of that for a bit. Those were like my safe havens, my safe days in those couple of years. But it would come and go. Like, then I would go back into my bad relationship that I was in, that kind of thing. I ended up getting in a really bad horse accident. I was racing a horse in 2019. I flew off. My horse did a cartwheel over top me. I had vertebrae in my neck out of place and my pelvis was out of place. I think that was like my 11th concussion on record. Concussion doctors at Glen Sather, U of A, told me that I should pretty much stop playing hockey. At that time, I was already feeling very disconnected from hockey, very lost in life. So that kind of just made me lose hope. The only little hope I had left about being an athlete. It took me a long time to recover. I was also at that time in school here in Lac La Biche, attending Portage College, playing for the soccer team. I ended up basically pretty much having to drop out of school due to my concussion and concussion symptoms. Like, I could not read, I could not focus, I still to this day have like tinnitus, ringing in my ears constantly, like chronic headache, jaw pain, chronic neck pain. In the last few years, I've kind of really taken a focus on how I'm treating and healing my body. I'd say about 2 years after that was a blur. If you know someone that knew me in those years, they would agree that like I was not a recognizable person. I had the worst rage, I had the worst anxiety, I had the worst anger. Like, I was not the person I am today. I'm not proud of the person I was or the way that I treated people or reacted to people. Like, I would literally sober, black out just due to my rage, and I would self-harm. Like in those times when I was really struggling like that was to like hit my head, and I already had so many concussions, so I can't even tell you how many concussions I've had because all of those times that I would reconcuss myself. And yeah, there was days where like I didn't know if I would make it. There was days I'd go for walks in the bush and thinking that I wouldn't come out. But I don't know, by the strength of Creator and my friends and my family around me, somehow I made it through those days and started therapy, started talking about my problems, started, just trying to find love and hope for myself again, trying to heal some of the trauma that I've been through and understand and learn how to be proud of myself. There was, a lot of days, like I said, a lot of times that I really, really struggled. I also, I don't even know where to go with this. There was like 6 years of my life that were just hard. I started working as a power engineer or as an operator before I got my education. And then I went back to school to pursue my education for power engineering. I started playing soccer again for the college. Unfortunately, like just when I was getting my spark back, I was going back to school. I was feeling really hopeful, like I could be successful again. I tore my ACL completely, my meniscus, and I fractured my shin bone. This was like the hardest injury I've ever had to endure. It's life-changing, honestly, and like anyone who's had knee surgery, knee injury, will say the same thing. I believe it's been 2.5 years since I've had surgery. It's been 3 years since I injured my leg. In the meantime of that, I also lost my best friend and roommate to addictions, and 8 months later I lost my oldest brother also to addictions and suicide. I still struggled for a couple months after this, for a year after this, to really commit to like my sobriety journey, figuring my stuff out again, because I always knew that I was someone who really valued being sober, really valued like being in tune with myself, and always valued growth and being a better version of yourself. But I often just like walked a fine line of like between two worlds. I just didn't have the strength, I didn't have the confidence in myself to think that I could do that and I could live a good life like that. Unfortunately, it took life events like that to make me realize like that it means so much to me. I 100% give everything, all my strength, my drive, my motivation to do this to younger me, to my late friend Alyssa, and my late big brother Curtis, as well as my mother. She is my rock, she's my biggest fan, and she's my biggest motivator and supporter. I guess the tipping point for me to start doing this again, because when I was younger I used to post a lot of my journey online. I used to have a page called Draney Development. I pretty much disappeared from that for like 5 years, just like I disappeared from everything else. Actually, exactly a year ago, working, I blew out my ankle and I completely tore 3 ligaments. I was already like for years feeling so defeated, so lost, like, and almost stuck in a pity mindset, like my body's shutting down. Like I remember I used to tell myself like, my body hates me, my body's just shutting down. I kind of just realized, like, thanks to like my therapist and like a couple books she recommended to me. One was called The Mountain Is You, and another one was You Could Heal Your Life, as well as an elder that is very dear to me and to my mom. She had taken me to a few sweats and just like allowed me to be around with her in our culture and in ceremony. I really just like found my reason again and my motivation that, you know, like I am capable of determining my life and life doesn't have to control me. It's my responsibility to live healthy and to find my strength and to find my confidence. I really put in a lot of work and I'm still trying to put in a lot of work. Life is not easy. I try to be a kind person, an understanding person because that's just who I am, but also I know the shit that I've been through. I remember those people who were kind and caring to me and who didn't just judge me, the people who are in my life who do not hold me to my darkest days. I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to be seen as someone who is who I am today rather than to always be held to the worst things that I've done or I've been through. Found my spark again. After I injured my ankle, I was like, I want to play hockey again. I miss hockey. So I physioed myself for 3 months as hard as I could. I played in a tournament. My friend Colby asked me to go play with them in High Prairie. And in High Prairie, I met and I got to play with pretty much 15 new girls, all like younger. There was a couple that I just like reconnected with from Team Alberta, and the most amazing, the most motivating, inspiring group of girls I could have asked for. There was just things like that showed me like this is what I'm meant to be doing. Like they were all so kind, just had so much good things to say. Their energy was contagious. Like it just reminded me how much I love being in the dressing room. I love being a girl's girl. I love supporting other girls. I love cheering people on, and it really helped me find my spark again after I met those girls. You know how social media world goes. One of them kind of reached out and noticed because I made a post on Instagram about my late best friend, and one of the girls that I just finished playing hockey with and just met that weekend reached out, told me that that was her cousin. And I don't know, like that was just one of the moments where I knew like Creator put me in that room. Like Alyssa gave me a lot of that strength to get there and to do what I was doing, and like it was for a good reason. And to this day, I'm close with those girls. I like respect and value those girls so much. And they're so inspiring. They're younger than me. And they're like, there's a couple of them that are also sober, like live a very intentional, culturally connected life. It just like, I was like, this is where I'm meant to be. Like the person I'm meant to be. This is what I've always wanted to do. I feel like, yeah, I could have done it 10 years ago when I originally wanted to, but the things I've been through are for a reason. I wouldn't have the knowledge and the experience and the growth that I have right now. I wouldn't be able to show up as who I am right now. So it's all part of timing. It's all part of the process. I'm super excited and super proud to be doing this. I just, like I told the girls, I just want to be a voice for the youth. I'm not afraid to speak up. I'm not afraid to ruffle feathers. I'm not afraid to say things how it should be said. And I wish I had someone like that to do that for me when I was younger. So that's why I'm pretty much doing what I'm doing. That's why it's so close to my heart. That's why I just wanted to introduce myself. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. This was really hard to do. I was very nervous. I have a lot of anxiety, but I just had to get it over with. So, bye.